Hey YouTube, we are back again this week for another video portion of the Daly Dose Sports Podcast. Hope everyone out there is doing well. Hope you're all staying healthy. Hope you're all getting back into the swing of things. And now, July 4th is over. We're starting to move forward with the summer. Hey, we have actually now on the podcast reached our Daly Dose top 5 for the week. We've got an interesting one for you today. So let's jump into our Daly Dose top 5 right now. Now, as we do so many weeks here at the Daly Dose, we need to get to our Daly Dose top 5. The United States Supreme Court has ruled that college athletes are now eligible to earn money off of their name, image, and likeness. This means that NCAA athletes can now make money off of everything from autographs to endorsement deals to social media content even. The NCAA says going forward, they will be working with Congress to develop some new official policies on a national level. But, remember that since basically forever, athletes have been barred from making any sort of additional income while in school in the name of maintaining some sort of sanctity of amateurism in college sports, despite the fact that players and their talent were helping schools build their multi-million-dollar businesses. Well, now, players are going to be allowed to profit. And no sooner was it announced that they could profit than we started to hear athletes saying they were signing deals. We also started to hear former athletes saying how they were mistreated back in their day. Former USC Trojan running back Reggie Bush says all of his previous sins should be forgiven. So did former Ohio State Buckeye Terrell Pryor. Now, I hate to point this out, but just because those rules have changed now doesn't mean they were okay back then. You still did break the rules then. But I want you to think about something. What if? Just what if those rules hadn't been in place back in the day? What if athletes had always been able to make money off of their name, their image, or their likeness? What if former college greats had been able to have endorsement deals? Well, this week, courtesy of Daly Dose I-Team President Big Rob, we are taking a look back at the Daly Dose top 5 college stars from the past that should have had their own endorsement deals. And how would those deals look if they had existed? Well, let's take a look at that right now. We start off at number 5. And what if back in 1995, players had been allowed to do endorsements and get paid like these guys are going to be able to do now? We are already seeing the University of Texas jumping in on this new opportunity with both feet. They are saying that they can be one of the biggest brands in the country. But just imagine if this had been allowed back in the 90s. When a superstar running back from San Diego, California had been playing in Austin. Ricky Williams went to Texas, and in 4 seasons, Williams racked up an insane 6,200 yards and 75 touchdowns. Williams set the NCAA Division I-A career rushing record in 1998. He rushed for 200 or more yards in 12 different games. And he was named the winner of the annual Heisman Trophy in 1998. Hey, if there was a guy that would have had companies lining up for him, make no mistake, it would have been Ricky Williams. Yet, we also know that he showed an affinity for cannabis following that collegiate career. Ricky, in fact, pretty much retired from the NFL because he was sick of having to pass drug tests. I think Ricky would have been able to partner right up with a dispensary, though, and make some big cash if it had been available then. Hi, I'm Texas running back Ricky Williams, and I'd like to talk to you about Green Dragon, your premier cannabis dispensary. Ricky Williams partnering with a pot store? Oh, that makes a ton of sense. And it comes in today at number 5. We move on to number 4, and we reach another player that was without a doubt the big man on campus at his university. He was one of the top-ranked recruits in the country when he was a high school senior, and when he decided to join Juwan Howard at the University of Michigan, it started off something absolutely wild, because once Chris Webber said yes, then so did Jalen Rose, then so did Jimmy King, then so did Ray Jackson, and suddenly Michigan had the Fab Five, one of the most popular teams in NCAA basketball history. Chris Webber would score over 1,200 points in just 2 seasons while leading the Wolverines to back-to-back national championship games. Of course, we know they lost both of those championship games, and the second one was particularly painful to Webber and to the Wolverines because Webber actually called a timeout against North Carolina late in the game when Michigan actually had no timeouts left, resulting in a technical foul and the game essentially ending. But imagine if after that fiasco, you had seen Chris Webber on TV saying something like, look, if you don't want to get caught not knowing what time it is, then you can only trust the quality and precision of Rolex watches. C-Web could have made some good money selling classic timepieces, right? Might have been a nice match. And it comes in today at number 4. We reached number 3 on our list of endorsements for college athletes from years past, and we arrive at an athlete that had a ton of potential for this. He had the game, he had the smile, he had the speed, he had the clothes, he played for one of the premier college football programs in the country, and he had, let's say, a very marketable hairstyle at the time. If endorsements had been allowed in the late 80s, there's no doubt whatsoever, companies would have been targeting the Florida State Seminoles. FSU was a fixture in the top 10 in the 80s and 90s, and Deion Sanders had the flash and explosiveness that marketers would have loved. Sure, he played cornerback, but he made cornerback a big-time position. And remember, he also played baseball. He also returned kicks. He also ran track. Sanders was a 2-time consensus All-American corner in 87 and 88. And a 3rd-team All-American in 86, he intercepted 14 passes in his career. 3 of them were in bowl games, and he managed to return 1 interception 100 yards for a touchdown that broke a record that had long stood. He won the Jim Thorpe Award in 1988. He was also a standout punt returner for Florida State. He led the nation in 88 with his punt return average. He broke the school's record for career punt return yards. Sanders would go on to a highly successful career in both the NFL and in Major League Baseball. But remember at the time that the Jerry curl was pretty popular, and Deion Sanders was sporting a pretty fine Jerry curl. The Jerry curl was a permanent wave hairstyle that gave the wearer like a glossy, loosely curled hair look. It was touted as wash and wear, and it was easier to care for than using like popular chemical treatments of the day, using a relaxer and that kind of thing. It was really popular back in the 80s and 90s. Based on Deion's curls, seems to me he would have been a perfect spokesperson for this product. Yes, I am talking about Soul Glow. Deion Sanders for Soul Glow? It would have been absolutely epic. But it couldn't happen at that time. And that's too bad, because I would have loved to have seen it. We reached number 2 today, and we go back to a guy that was so popular in college, they say he brought in around $40 million just from like jersey sales and ticket sales and appearances in bowl games. Now, there's no question that these universities benefit from so many of these players, and this guy brought a ton of excitement to a school that was desperate for it. Because when we're talking about some of the greatest college football programs ever, let's face it, Texas A&M has never really been a true powerhouse. I mean, they won a national title, they say, back in like the late 30s or something. They've had a few top 10 poll finishes, but the Aggies usually tend to trip up somewhere along the way in their biggest games. But back in 2011, Texas A&M managed to get a guy that was known by the nickname of Johnny Football. And suddenly, A&M was actually a program to watch. Johnny Manziel would redshirt his freshman season, but then, in 2 years, he racked up around 10,000 total yards and 52 touchdowns. He won the Heisman in 2012, becoming the first freshman in history to win the award. Unfortunately, Johnny had some, let's say, demons. He tended to like partying a little too much. He has battled addictions. He basically threw his NFL career down the toilet. But maybe if he had appeared in an endorsement ad like this, he would have figured things out. I mean, maybe Johnny needed to do like the drug ads, you know, the ones with the scrambled eggs or something. I don't know. But he definitely needed something because he couldn't seem to stay out of trouble. Maybe if he had done those PSA announcements about drugs, maybe he would have listened to himself and got himself out of trouble. But it didn't happen, and it's too bad. Johnny Manziel comes in today at number 2. So we reach our number 1 college athlete that could have had some really beneficial endorsements if only they had been allowed to profit off of those things back in the day. And for our number 1 entry, we really don't have to go back all that far. We had a college athlete playing for a top-notch football program that was winning conference titles and even winning national championships. This kid was just a winner. His coach even compared him to Michael Jordan because he found ways to win. He delivered in the clutch. He would have been a great spokesperson for a number of different businesses had it been allowed back from 2014 to 2016. But looking back now, if this had been allowed, can you imagine hearing this ad? Say goodbye to those minor aches and pains and say hello to the new you. The demands of daily life can be super taxing on your body. That's why it pays to take care of it. Massage Envy franchise locations are going to help keep your body running smoothly so that you can run that half marathon or just that full day of meetings. Hi. I'm Clemson Tigers quarterback, Deshaun Watson, on behalf of Massage Envy, where they have the best massage therapists in the world. Okay, YouTube, be sure that you go over and check out the rest of the podcast. This week on The Dose, we're actually recapping some of the winners and losers from the world of sports from the past week or two. We talk some sports news, and we have a very special National Day of the Year that we want to be sure and warn you about. So make sure you go out and you check out the rest of the podcast. I will leave a link here on YouTube in the comments for you. Hope you all are doing well. I will see you all next Wednesday. Have a great week.